to the Treasure Island Baseball Network.
It's time to check in with your Minnesota Twins. Going inside the front office, the clubhouse, the minor leagues, the spotlight is on your team. Welcome to Inside Twins.
Well, welcome everyone to Inside Twins. I'm Mark Janowski. It's our second show of the offseason. Chris Atterbury and the new manager, Derek Shelton, got things rolling for us last week. John Vitas and I will carry the show from here all the way up until our first broadcast of spring training coming up in February, and that's actually not that far away. In fact, things really creeping up on us. A week from today, the first legs of Caravan are going to be hitting the road, and of course, those roads lead right back here to Target Field on Saturday the 24th for Twins Fest. Some news and notes to get you caught up to speed on what's going on with the Twins. They did agree to contracts with 6 of the 7 players they had that were arbitration eligible. They still have a little bit of work left to do with Joe Ryan. Now, speaking of Joe, he's a member of Team USA for the upcoming World Baseball Classic in March, and he's going to see a familiar face in the clubhouse as Byron Buxton was officially added to that team here recently. So congratulations to Buck. And some late news breaking for us. Brian Dinkelman, who is a former Twin, has been managing in the Twins minor league system for the last 7 years, mostly in Cedar Rapids. He was with Wichita last year. Well, he keeps moving on up as he is going to be taking over for Toby Gardenhire here in St. Paul. So Brian Dinkelman, the new manager of the AAA affiliate St. Paul Saints. That gets you caught up to speed on that. For the second show here of the Inside Twins, let's get you caught up with what's going on with the Twins' third baseman. It's Royce Lewis. Royce joining us from down in Texas. And Royce, first of all, it's great to see you. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me, Gino. I appreciate you, man. It's always good to hear your voice and see you. And I know it's a little bit warmer up here, but, I'm looking forward to getting up in that cold weather in Minnesota soon.
Oh, let me tell you, we had some 40-degree days here back to back, and then today, wind chill hovering around 0, wind whipping across the parking lot. I was gassing up my car. I thought I was going to be lifted up and landed in Oz or something the way it was going. But for first question for you, before we talk baseball, just how's your offseason been away from the game? What has it been like? What have you done over the last couple months?
Oh, man, work, and some more work. And then obviously there's a little bit of fun in there, right? I play some golf here and there and see the family for the holidays. And, we've been really excited about, the potential of going back towards family and being with family more often in our off seasons going forward. So it's been a fun one off season.
That's good. That's great. Well, before you even got into the mode of off season, it was only a day or two after you guys packed up and left for the year. Seismic news out of the Twins organization with Rocco Baldelli being let go. Derek Shelton, the new manager. Now, you have a little familiarity with Derek. He was the bench coach in 18 and 19. You weren't quite up here yet, but you had a little familiarity with him. Well, he told us last week on the show one of his first orders of business as the Twins manager was to get down and meet you and sit down and chat with you. So can you tell us a little bit about what that conversation, that message was?
Yeah, first off, real quick, just to speak on, Rocco leaving, that kind of hurt me personally, just because him and I started to really build a good relationship towards the end there. And obviously I'm wishing him well. He's going to the Dodgers, so I can't wait to beat them up just because they're the World Series winners. But, I'm wishing him well. But with Shelty, man, it was so special for him to come out and see me. We got some barbecue. He jokes to people. He's like, yeah, I just wanted to have some Texas barbecue before the season started. And it meant so much because the conversation was just like, how can we be better? How can we be better for you? And then what are some things that he expects of me going forward? And some things that I told him I expected of myself. And so we're just looking forward to that. And then I asked him some questions on, the swing and because he used to be a hitting coach. I don't know if people know the background fully, but he's very well versed in that area as well. So spoke up to him about that. He gave me a little bit of pointers. He said he wanted to look into it and deep dive more, and we'll talk into spring. But man, what a conversation, what a guy, and that meant a lot.
How did you process, or maybe still even process, the fact that you were one of the top priorities for the new manager? Just almost the emphasis on, as Royce goes, the Twins can go, and here's the manager talking to you.
Yeah, I can't even fathom like how cool that is. Like I said before, it didn't feel like that. the past couple seasons. It seems like since the playoffs, things were just trending different direction, and no one really knew what direction that was. And so it's been nice to be, talked to and be in the loop a little bit more, same as, like a Buxton would be, and some of those other leaders. So it's really cool.
Well, not only do you have a new manager this year, for the third year in a row, there's going to be a different voice and a different face in the term of who's the hitting coach. Keith Beauregard, the new hitting coach this year. Has he reached out to you yet at all?
Oh yeah. As soon as he got hired, we got on a Zoom a few days later because he got hired around you know busy time and just interviews, media, press, and so he texted saying I was the hitting coach, and after that we reached out. We had the Zoom with all the hitting coaches, the whole staff, and then post he's been texting nonstop. Getting some videos of my swing, just going back and forth so that he knows where I'm at going into spring training, which is very exciting. And then I'll get to see him here in a weekend or two.
Well, I know last year you tweaked your stance, you did some different things in the box, trying to unlock things and get going. When you have another hitting coach, another new voice, what's that acclimation period when you seem to be still searching last year and now you have to get familiar with another person to try to help you in that pursuit?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, it's not ideal. You right? You got to build a rapport fast. You got to go through spring training and work on the swing that you think is going to be perfect for the year. And then throughout the season, you got to try to have some small fixes that you can go to when things aren't going right. And so I'm looking forward to getting with Keith on those and seeing what he's got for me.
Well, also some new names and faces on the coaching staff. The newest name that the Twins have brought in so far in the offseason is Josh Bell. He is queued up to start working out with you. I know that hasn't happened yet. You guys are still trying to connect on that. My first question on that front, though, is how are you guys getting connected to begin with? Is it just that he lives in Texas, or how were you two introduced and then the idea of let's eventually work out?
Yeah, so when I was back in California, everyone, we have the same agency and everyone would come through working out. So we get a really good group. It was Josh Bell, Cody Bellinger, Matt Chapman, myself, Garrett Stubbs, James Caprillion. So we had a massive group of guys that were there every day in the offseason of 2018. And so, yeah, I'm dating myself a little bit and himself too. But no, we had a lot of fun. That's where we actually got to know each other really well for 3 months there in that offseason. And then just playing against him. He was on the Guardians for a little bit. He's been on the Pirates, obviously. He's been on the Nationals. He's kind of been all over, and everywhere he goes, he rakes. And so it's fun to talk hitting with him. It's fun to just see him play the game at a high level. And he's such a gentleman, man. He's a good guy in the clubhouse for us. He's going to be a good leader, natural leader for us. And I look forward to hanging out and hopefully grabbing a couple nice dinners with him too.
Now, when you guys do start working out, will it all just be hitting based, or with the fact that he's on the other side of the diamond, will you do any throwing across the diamond with him? What kind of working out and workouts will you guys have?
Yeah, so the first time we actually saw each other this offseason, he hadn't signed yet, but we ran into each other at a local coffee shop. So we knew we lived close by if we were going to coffee together. But I saw him and his wife and his girls, and just a great family, man. But in terms of workouts, yeah, we already talked about, hey, he said, I'd love to catch you across the diamond. Where are you taking ground balls and when? And, unfortunately with me, I've been traveling a little bit, going to see family. And so our dates and times didn't work out. But, we're going to see each other tomorrow, most likely. And if not, probably Friday. So we're stoked, and we'll hit a little bit, but we'll also get some fielding in.
Nice. Now, the one thing he has had in his career, besides, you said he rakes, he has a pop in that bat, durability, health-wise. He plays 140 plus games in every season except his rookie campaign and then the COVID shortened 2020 season. So you look and talk to him a little bit about what his off-season workouts are in terms of health and durability.
Yeah, he's actually working out with a bunch of guys that are, well, for one, they all are healthy and durable. They do a really good job over there, man, at Elite Performance. But it's just it's a unique setup where sometimes once you learn what you got to do in your routine, it's really nice to just continue that and stay healthy throughout the season. So for me, I'm gonna pick his brain and just I don't even have to ask him. I just watch him, see what he does, how he works, how he moves, because to still play this game at a high level at 34. 35 years old. It's very impressive, and I've seen very few do it. Carlos Santana is the last one I can remember, and then also Nelson Cruz. So the guys that play at that long, this game for a long time like that, they do something right.
Well, how are you feeling physically?
Oh, I feel amazing, man. I just I started putting some more volume on this off season. I think that's the biggest change, and just lifting really heavy stuff and trying to build that base levels to where when I start running and in the game, it doesn't affect me. And so we're just looking forward to the whole season, and it's going to be a great year, man.
What you've been doing so far on your own, did anybody help you implement some of the tweaks and changes that you made to your off-season routine, or is this stuff you just researched on your own that you decided I'm going to try this?
No, I made a full, change. I went back to the Boris Corporation and started lifting back with them. My agency, they do a really good job of keeping their guys healthy, and he's been hammering me to come back and work out with them and be in California more often, which is why I've been traveling more back and forth to see them and work out with them at the facility there. And so that was the main thing I kind of made the adjustment wise, was just listening to them and what they had to say. And they're working in conjunction with the Twins, which is awesome. And just to have that good communication. And then during the season, when I'm fully with the Twins, obviously they'll know what's going on and what I've been doing in the off season.
Yeah, but if you head back to California, you still have family that you can stop in on, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I've been, staying at my parents' house and then just walking across the street to go lift. So it's been awesome.
That's not the only place you've visited or that you've been this off season. Tell us, fans, a little bit about what you and I were talking about off air before the show about meeting up with Cody Clemens here recently.
Yeah, that was special, man. I try to do my best to stay in touch with all the guys in the off season. It's obviously hard. You got 26 plus guys that you run into, and usually guys want to just enjoy their off season with their families since we're together every single day for 8 months. So I don't want to try to pry and bother people, but when I'm in the area, I want to say hi and stop by. So I reached out to him, and luckily he had a day where he wasn't doing much, and he was actually at his dad's house, and so he gave me a tour. We shot some hoops a little bit in his dad's I don't even know what, the Texas Longhorn basketball court gym. It was unbelievable. The setup he had was special, but Cody looks amazing, man. He's put in some hard work, and we talked some hitting strategies. So we look forward to the season this year, and man, just seeing him just got me extra jazzed up for seeing the rest of the guys. Twins Fest.
Yeah, Cody was quite an addition when he came aboard for the Twins last year and helped with some things over at second base, first base, or wherever he was needed. Yeah, and Rogers' house full of memorabilia.
Yeah, man, the best. I mean, he had football stuff, Tiger Woods signed stuff, as I think I saw, and so baseball, of course. He had Hank Aaron, and it was special. It was so special. It was so cool.
I'm envisioning if you're there or to gain entrance, you have to do either the hook 'em horn sign or you have to do some sort of maybe sing the Eyes of Texas are upon you. You probably have to do something Texas related, right? Just to fit in.
You know what? Luckily enough, he saw the black Camry I rolled up in, and he said, "Is that you in the Camry?" I said, "Yeah." You sound surprised, and he started laughing. He just goes, "Actually, that makes perfect sense that you rolled up in a Camry." And I started laughing. So I told him that was my first car, and it's gonna last me forever. But no, honestly, what made me happy about their entrance is they have two massive Twins flags, right at their gate, and I was like, "Wow, this is a proud father," and it's obviously really exciting for me to see, how special it is that Cody's a Twin. So it was really cool.
Oh, that's awesome. I remember the games that Roger was at this year. He just seemed to time it when he was at a game. Cody delivered in the clutch, and it was just, you'd see a shot or you would hear about Roger's reaction in the crowd, and it was awesome. He's definitely a proud father. One last topic for you before we go to break one. We talked about you're going to start working out with Josh Bell. Well, in the past, Trevor Larnach had been your off-season workout mate. That's not the case this year, correct?
No, not the case. This year he went back towards his family, and then he also has an agency that's out in Nashville. So, but we definitely stay in touch, man. That's my boy, and he looks good. His swing looks great. I know that he's refining some things and trying to get even better, which is hard for me to believe, man, because this guy, I think he has one of the prettiest swings in the game, and he has so much juice in that bat. So it's awesome to see, and I can't wait to see him do some really good things for the Twins this year.
And when you say you still stay in contact with guys, is it always baseball related, or can it just be maybe a text of some, almost trash talk or something if you're on opposite ends of a big basketball game or football game?
Yeah, I mean, some of the fantasy football guys, I definitely trash talk, that we have the league in together. But no, I think for the most part, for me, it's I reach out to Wally and see, hey, how's your daughter doing? He just had the kid. And so, talking to Jeffers, I want to hear how his kids are doing. And it's more family based, man, because I know everyone's spending time with their family, and it's just kind of like a check in. I just want to make sure that they're doing good and that they hear from me, and then yeah, I think eventually sometimes if you talk long enough, you get into baseball right away. So obviously that helps too.
Great stuff. He is Royce Lewis. I'm Mark Janowski. This is Inside Twins. We're going to take our first break. When we come back, Royce is on the hot seat, although it's not that hot. We're playing Cardack. We're going to have some clues from cards, and Royce is going to try to take a stab and guess who we're talking about. Stick around for that right here on your home for Twins baseball. All right, the show is Inside Twins. I'm Mark Janowski. Royce Lewis is our guest. He's swinging a bat already down there at his house in Texas, getting ready for the season, getting ready for Twins Fest. This is our second segment of the show, and Royce, this is where we play Cardack. And just to refresh you and everybody on how we do it, we're going to put some clues up on the screen so fans at home on social media can see that. We'll read them here for our audience on the radio, and then you take a guess at who we're talking about. My caveat is always that everybody has about a degree or two separation from you, so we don't leave you dangling. I think by the end you're going to be able to knock this one out of the park. Sound good?
All right. Yeah, that sounds
All
great.
right.
Thank you.
All right, let's get our first card, our first clue. It's a teammate of yours. He had a team high 19-game hitting streak here in 2025. Any guesses on that one yet?
Yeah, Brooks Lee.
Yeah, there it is, Brooks Lee. I knew we should not have started with that one right out of the gate, but yeah, we went with that one, the 19-game hitting streak, of course. He also had more walk-offs than any other Twin in 2025. He had 3 walk-offs. Some numbers from the last couple of years. You can see 16 homers, 64 RBI last year. He's a California kid, just like you, the switch hitter, playing shortstop. And the card that we found from him looks like it was from one of his walk-offs last season, getting ready to celebrate. Now, after the trade deadline and after Carlos Correa went back to Houston, you and Brooks were anchoring the left side of that infield. Tell the audience and the fans a little bit about what you saw from Brooks in terms of how he evolved even that 2-month stretch at shortstop.
I mean, yeah, evolved, I guess, a little bit. Yeah, he grew, but I think more so he just showed that how mature he was to step in right after a guy like Carlos, who's platinum Gold Glove winner, just one of the best shortstops that I'll probably ever play with in my life. And so to have Brooks right there be so mature and step in and not make it seem like we took a step backwards was pretty special. So especially at such a young age, man, I was proud of him, and obviously for him to stay healthy like that too and do his thing, it's going to be an awesome way to grow into this next season.
And obviously communication over there, very important between the third baseman and the shortstop when you have that ball that's going through the hole, just trying to figure out who has the best chance to get it, when you should lay out, when you should let the other guy get it. You feel like you and Brooks are on a pretty good page?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only thing that I have trouble with is I sometimes have to yell a little bit louder because I don't know which ear it is, but he's a little bit like I think he's slightly deaf in it or something. He always jokes about it, and so I don't know if that's a real thing. But I remember, people have to yell at I don't know which ear it is, but someone has to yell, and so I'll be like, "Hey, what do you think?" And he's like, "What?" And so sometimes that we get a little miscommunication just by that. But no, he does a great job, man. Whenever he talks to me, obviously I hear him very well. He's locked in and. He's thinking of plays that are like, 2 batters ahead. Like, hey, if he gets on for this guy, this is going to happen. And I just love hearing what he has to talk about when he's spacing out too. We do a good job with our spacing, which I think is great. And that's how we can defend against some of these good teams and good hitters.
Well, let's hope this year you got to be yelling so he can hear you because Target Field's packed and the crowd is raucous because it's a big-time game as you guys are chasing down a meaningful win. How does that sound?
Oh man, that sounds great. I tell you what, I still have dreams about how loud it was in that playoff series, man. It was special.
All right, let's move on to card number 2 in Cardack. What's our first clue on this one? This player was drafted in the first round in 2009. You want a little more?
Yeah, let me see. Angels,
That's fine.
2009.
Uh,
It
let's
was
go. Let's go to
2009.
clue two. Clue
So
two. This guy's not too bad of a player. He finished in the top 5 of MVP voting 9 straight seasons, including winning it 3 times and finishing runner-up 4 times.
Wow. Okay, I have to take another clue.
Okay, this one is a favorite clue of ours. He had a tough Sunday because he watched his favorite NFL team lose to the 49ers in the postseason.
I mean, Trout. It's got to be Trout.
Yeah, bam. Mike Trout, a guy that you watched
Wow.
growing up when you were in high school. We're throwing up some numbers from that 13 through 16 stretch. That's when you were in high school. So you really got to watch this guy when he was at the top of the sport.
Yeah, I remember him coming in, and Tori just talks about his, obviously now I know Tori. He talks about how special this kid was when he came into camp, and they were like, man, this guy's got it going. And obviously, when you finish, top 5 MVP for so many years, I think he was like, voted number 1 in MLB's top 100 like 6 straight seasons or something crazy. So he clearly knows what he's doing when he's healthy, and man, that guy can hit. That's for sure.
Yeah, and what I like about it is you're finally able to compete against him on the diamond after watching him when you were growing up. I know the respect for that you have for him. Something else that I respect about you when you talk about Mike Trout or other guys, you always want them on the field. You always want them healthy and ready to compete because you want to go against the best and you want the fans to be watching and observing the players when they're at their top. I've always appreciated that whenever we chat.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a fact. No one wants to see anyone get hurt. No player's trying to get hurt, so it's just like an unfortunate situation. Anytime anyone gets hurt, I watched the game like you talked about. The 49ers just beat the Eagles, right? So watching the game, you see George Kittle. I think that's everyone's favorite tight end. That's like the world's favorite tight end, and he gets hurt. And you hear stories that he said he asked for a tequila shot after the game. Like that's the kind of guy he is. He's just a funny party animal. But no one wants to see him get hurt like that. So. Anytime anyone gets hurt, any sport, I always want to root for these guys and root that they play their best, except for against the Twins. That's for sure.
Yeah. All right. You ready for card number 3?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
All right.
Threw me off. I'm like, what?
No, you're doing all right. Okay. Last one here in Cardack. This player was actually drafted in the 16th round in 1993 by the Chicago White Sox.
All right. We're definitely going to need another.
Yeah. Clue number 2. One of his jersey numbers was number 12.
If I could do early guesses without getting like X'd off, I would say AJ Brzezinski.
Okay. No, that's not right, but I like where your thought was. Let's go to clue 3. This one should make it for you. This guy also had a lot of success on the gridiron back in the day. In fact, he was the quarterback for the Washington Huskies, led them to the national championship in 1991 when he threw 22 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's Billy Joe Hobart. That's my father-in-law right there.
It is
impressive.
It is indeed Billy Joe Hobart. Now, besides the quarterbacking, he was also the punter in there for a couple of seasons with Washington. So you start thinking about that.
Crazy.
The quarterback as the punter, you could throw some pretty incredible fake plays in there, right?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, just do a little fake punt, throw it off to the post route. Yeah, that got a lot of options.
Now, as you mentioned, that's your father-in-law. Do you guys, when you chat, do you talk about his football time at Washington?
Honestly, I talk football all the time, like as much as I can without bothering him, because I think it's also like one of those things where he's watching the game and I could tell he's like intellectually so much like smarter than what I'm watching. Like I'm watching a game, I'm like, oh, that was a nice catch. He's watching it like, man, he ran a bad route, but it was a good catch. Like those kind of things. Like, and so he's like, there's a game within the game, and he knows all about that. And I try to pick his brain as much as possible.
Yeah, he just played a couple of games in '93 in the White Sox farm system. Do you guys ever chat about his little foray into professional baseball?
Yeah, absolutely. One of those things that he always says is that he wishes he could have, dove deeper into baseball because I think, he had a love for it that was just different, and he also was really good at it. Like I don't know, I didn't see if there was a baseball card in there on the stats, but I feel like he would have batted at least 280. Like the way he talks about hitting is a lot smarter than most people who, they say, oh, I played baseball. I'm like, okay, yeah, like let me see like your knowledge about it. So he's got some knowledge. He knows what he's talking about, and And he was a lefty too. I love me some lefty hitters, man. They know what they're doing.
Well, you had some good knowledge here for Cardack. You went 3 for 3, Roy. So let's phrase it this way. That's your first 3 for 3 for the year of upcoming season where we're going to see you do that a lot. How's that sound?
Hey, that sounds amazing, man. I agree with you.
All right, that's Royce Lewis. I'm Mark Janowski. Again, this is Inside Twins. One last break. When we come back, it's some questions from the fans for Royce right here on your home for Twins baseball. Welcome back to Inside Twins. Twins Fest coming up on Saturday, January 24th. And Royce, my first question for you is, what is your favorite part of that event? I know you're always in town for it, and you always got that big smile on your face. What is it about the event that really stands out to you?
The fans, that by far. I mean, getting to see how excited they are about the year or about meeting a certain player. Like I've seen people get so excited about, obviously Joe Mauer, right? Rod Carew, Torrey Hunter, Byron Buxton. Like it doesn't matter who it is. They're so excited, and you always see a new fan that's excited about meeting somebody. I think one of the best stories I ever had was going to Twins Fest and meeting a young lady there that I didn't know she even knew who I was at the time, but I guess I was one of her favorites, is at least what her parents said. And so ran into her in the elevator, and I just reacted like typical Royce reaction, like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I think she just got really embarrassed, shy and embarrassed, and like, no way I'm meeting Royce, I guess. And I never look at it like that. I'm just a normal dude, but I'm happy to be there for everybody. And so I'm glad I was able to, make her smile that day. And it's just meeting the fans is the best part.
That's great, and we're looking forward to that coming up again next Saturday. This final segment of Inside Twins, we'll take some questions for Royce Lewis from the fans on X and on YouTube and on Facebook. I get the first question, although the Twins Fest question was kind of the first question, so I'm going to get the second question. The second question revolves around your defense. You made it such an emphasis last year on trying to improve, and you worked with Ramon Borrego on how to do some things and change things up. Just how impressed with you were the work with Ramon, and then where do you want to take things defensively this year?
Oh, we can always grow in this game. And, with Ramon, I think it was just the everyday process of work that we put in. It was the side work we did. It was the early work on defense where it was just me by myself out there. And we talked about, angles and always trying to cut the distance on the ball, especially at third base. If we can cut the distance and go get it, we're going to get a lot of people out more often than not, because the ball beats the runner, every time, even if it's Byron Buxton. I promise you that guy's like, this guy's fast, but you can't beat a baseball. So just getting to the baseball first, cuts down that distance, and you're able to make plays that, maybe you didn't think you were able to make in the past. And so those are huge for me, being a little bit more aggressive, just trusting myself and my athleticism, being healthier. All those things combined definitely helped, and we're going to make even bigger strides this year because, for one, I've grown, I got stronger. I got another year under my belt now to learn at third and get comfortable over there, because I think it's really underrated to see a guy like Willie Castro. I don't know how he does it, or any of these guys that are going from first base to second base to third base to shortstop to left field to center field. It's like, that's not easy. I don't think we just take it for granted how hard that is to move around and still be a above average player at those defensive player at those positions. I think it was hard for me to go from all of a sudden I was shortstop for 6 years in the minors, and then all of a sudden it's like you debut as shortstop. Okay, Carlos is healthy. Now you're getting sent down because we're gonna have you play third and left and center and second. I played all those, and then 10 days later I'm back in center field, and well, that's what happens when you play your first game. You run into a wall, and the wall is undefeated. So I highly recommend, if you ever play, kids out there, like, don't run into these walls. But anyways, it was just really hard to kind of bounce around. And now that I feel finally settled in at third base, I look forward to just continuing to grow there. It's been fun.
Yeah, you made good strides there at the hot corner last year. And another big thing about that is even when things weren't going maybe your way at the plate, you didn't take that out into the field with you. Your glove was solid throughout the course of the season. Let's see what some of the fans, what's on their minds for Royce Lewis. Here's our first one. Royce, what is your barbecue order? That's a good one, right? Being down in Texas.
That's a great one. Yeah, depending on where I go, right, it changes. But there's a few restaurants that they do really good steak and like specifically ribeye, where they like smoke the meat. I don't know how they cook it. I'm gonna be honest, but it's way better than a typical steak that I would get even at most steakhouses. So I'll get a ribeye. If I'm not going steak route and it's a different type of restaurant, like Tori's Barbecue, the tender, I'll definitely go get the brisket. I'll get probably the lean brisket, and then I'll go with a sweet potato, a baked sweet potato, mac and cheese for sure. You got to go mac and cheese. Yeah, that's all I got. I'm pretty simple. I can't do spice, so I don't do the sausage. I don't do the ribs. Is too messy for me, man. I'm trying to keep it clean and easy.
Can you do barbecue continuously, like 3-4 days in a row, or do you got to take a break?
I get too full, man. I got to take a break. I do it probably like right now, like once a month. I just, unless it's a steak one, if I'm going to if I go to this, the barbecue place to get the steak, then I'll be good. I could do that like 4 days in a row.
All right, there's Royce's recommendation on the barbecued front. Let's get another question here. This one comes from Scott. This is a good one. What's one adjustment that you made last season that fans just would never have noticed, yet it made a big difference in your game?
That's a great question. Is that for the last season or for the season going forward?
Well, let's say from 2025.
Yeah, I think obviously defensively, I talked about cutting down the distance. We look at it kind of like if you drew like a snowflake, to where there's if I'm in the middle here and you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6, and then 7 would be going this way. We put out cones like that every day. I'd start in the middle and we just work on our footwork and cutting down the distance of the ball. So he'd roll me a ground ball. He's like, all right, field it. The first couple when I'd field it right where that dot is in the middle. And he's like, why aren't you following the cones and cutting the distance? He threw the same ground ball. I walked up I don't know. I just rolled up into it, fielding it normal. And he's like, okay, stop where you are. So I stopped where I was. He's like, you're 2.5, almost 3 feet ahead of, that same ground ball you just took. So you just, instead of letting the hop play you're playing the hop. There's a lot of positive things. You're playing the hop. You're cutting down the distance of the runner being to first base. You're putting yourself in a better position. Your angle's going towards first base. That was a big thing I learned. I'm sorry I got really detailed there, but that was like a big thing that no one even sees on the side fields in spring training. And even if you're there in spring training, I don't think people realize how much work goes into, 7:30 a.m., 8 a.m. You're out there before the rest of the guys. Just because you want to work on something specific. And so Ramon did a great job with me on that. And I look forward to, executing that again this year and even adding to it a little bit more.
No, that's great. That's great to give folks a peek behind the curtain, because you can just say, well, I was here and now I got better. But folks just, okay, they can recognize it. But how does a person actually evolve and get better? So that was good. I appreciate that deep dive on the answer. Let's get another question here. All right. What is your favorite memory with Byron Buxton?
Man, okay, because everyone obviously wants us the answer probably to be on an on the field thing, but I think for me it was, him taking me to dinner, and then just taking me to breakfast, those times where I have to get to talk about him and get to know him as Byron, Byron Buxton the man, not Byron Buxton the player. I think that's my favorite time. We sat in the room in Pittsburgh few years ago, and we just talked in the hotel room for hours, post game, and it was so amazing. We talked hitting, we talked about his house that he was building and all the little gym equipment that he was going to get for the year, to be prepared for the next season, which he ended up having an MVP type season last year. So I would assume the gym equipment worked, but yeah, he's got some special things going with him and his family, and talk about his kids and how special they are, how athletic they are. It's awesome. And so, yeah, I think that was my favorite part. It will forever be my favorite part. But on the field, definitely him hitting for the cycle was really special to see in person, because I called it. I was like, after he got the triple, I'm like, nah, he can hit for the cycle today. Any day he hits a triple, it's a cycle watch.
Yeah, that was an incredible moment here last year when he turned in the first cycle at Target Field. And I'm glad you talked about getting away from the ballpark to get to know guys, because fans probably don't realize when you guys are here how detailed and laid out the days are in terms of getting ready for the game, and you are really focused on the game. And then of course you got the pesky media that comes in and bothers you even more, so you don't have the chances at the ballpark to really dive into who a guy is away from the field. So it's good to get away from here and experience different atmosphere with guys. All right, one last question here from the show. This last one comes from Keith at MN. Hey, Royce, what do you think the vibe will be in the clubhouse starting spring training, given all the changes from the end of last season? Well, that's a good one, because obviously all the, Derek Shelton, new manager, new hitting coaches, probably going to be some new faces on the players. What's the vibe going to be?
I think every spring training, no matter what, it's always exciting, because everyone has a chance to win a World Series right from day one, right? That's the goal for every team, and you go into spring thinking that you're gonna, have the best season you've ever had yet. So everyone's excited, everyone's happy, everyone's got full of energy. Everyone's, for the most part, typically healthy, so it's just a great vibe, and the energy's high, and I look forward to seeing all those guys, man. I miss, my friends.
Yeah. Are you ready to do it? You ready to get saddled up and head to Fort Myers?
I was ready when I saw Harrison Bader playing on the Phillies against the Dodgers in the postseason. So yeah, I would say I'm pretty ready right now. And watching him do his thing, he's one of my favorite players to watch, man. He's just got so much excitement to his game, and he played really well. It was a guy that I would love to play with again one day. Kyle Farmer's another one for me. Like, those are two teammates that, might like go under the radar for most people, but to me, I think they do awesome job on the field, but also like in the clubhouse, hanging out with the guys. They make the game fun. So, I just threw that in there, but just learning a little bit about Royce for sure.
Yeah, that's great. So you're fired up for spring training. Just a couple of pit stops before that, including Twins Fest next week. So we'll see you next Saturday here at the ballpark.
Oh yeah, I'll be there Friday and Saturday, and then even Sunday too. So I'm excited about it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us this week, Royce. You take care, and we'll see you next week. All right.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right. Royce Lewis, our guest this week on Inside Twins. And again, Caravan next week, midweek, and then Twins Fest on Saturday, January 24th here at Target Field. We appreciate Royce Lewis for being our guest. Thank you for listening on all the various platforms. This has been Inside Twins. I'm Mark Janowski. We'll talk to you next week here in your home for Twins baseball.